Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm gonna be doing something possibly even more strange and stupid than the last video. I'm gonna be installing macOS on a normal Windows PC, avoiding the price. And when most people see that price, they kind of just walk out. So I went down a rabbit hole, the Hackintosh rabbit hole. But before I explain that, I'm gonna have to explain something called an EFI. What this does is it's basically a bridge between your hardware and your software. Your hardware speaks one language in noughts and ones, and your software speaks in actual language. Or not actually, but they just speak in different languages and the EFI connects them. So the first thing you're going to do is bring up your web browser and visit this site on GitHub. Then you're going to click the code drop down. And then click the download zip button. This should download it to your downloads folder, and then you can open it, extract it, do whatever you want with it. But what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to open it in a terminal, and then you're going to run this Python command. So you're going to go --python3 and then that command. So then you're going to drag and drop your hardware report over there. As you can see, I did have some issues telling the OS where my hardware report was, but eventually I got there and it worked out. So I generated my report with the hardware sniffer, and it was report.json. And then it told me all of the different operating, or the maximum version of the operating system that I can do. So here you can see there's all of this, and it all says macOS Tahoe 26. So I pressed 26 and it didn't work, but I eventually pressed 25 because I figured out the numbering. So then I needed to drop my ACPI tables in there, but it took me a while here and I did have some more issues. But eventually I got my ACPI tables in, and then I needed to pick some kexts, which are kernel extensions, which basically tell the kernel what's going on with this system that it doesn't even know what's going on. So I picked my kexts here for example, Wi-Fi and USB and whatever else. And then I could press the build open core EFI, so number 6, and then enter. So what this does is first downloads this as an update, and then it starts generating your EFI folder. So once it's done, there we go. We have the EFI folder. So this is most of the work done. So now what we need to do is, as you can see on screen, we do need to do USB mapping. So that's another kext that we have to install completely differently, because OpenCore for some reason doesn't support it. So we'll download USB Toolbox. Now I did have some issues here because I'm on Linux, because it's the year of the Linux desktop this year, just like it was last year. It wasn't really, but I actually think this year will be the Linux desktop. But I did have some issues here, because I wasn't running Windows. I do have Wine, but clearly this program doesn't really work with Wine, or maybe I misconfigured it or something. But yeah, it really didn't like it. So it would do that, and then it would tell me it's selecting an option, and I would say it was getting something, and then it would just crash and disappear completely, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So eventually I booted into Windows, and an eternity later I booted back into Linux. Now I had the kexts file or folder, and I was able to copy it into the EFI. So it's in the EFI folder, which is in the results folder. and then you can just copy your EFI folder or your kexts into this folder. So it's results, EFI, OC, and then kexts. And then you will need to delete the UTB default kext. So that's what it used to or usually uses on macOS. But because we now have a USB toolbox, we don't need that anymore. Then what we're going to need to do is open this, and this is the OpenCore configurator. And this is actually what OpenCore is, but they've now done a whole lot of other stuff with it. And you're going to need to go ahead and click on the kernel area, but what you need to first do is go to File in the top left corner, and then you're going to need to select Open, and you'll select your kexts. Then you can click plus, so this is what you haven't added, so those folders we added earlier. And I did forget to remove the UTB default.kext, so I will have to come back afterwards because it did give me some errors. So after we've added our kexts, now we should actually be removing a kext here, but basically we're done here now. We can go ahead and click save, and then we can close the application. Then we can open our files, and we need to download some stuff, which honestly I don't know where I found it. I was watching some tutorial online, but if we go into Mac Recovery, you can see we have all of this. So oh, here's where I found it. So this is where you would actually get the Mac Recovery, which is what allows you to install macOS. So this is like the loophole that the Hackintosh people found. If you have the right EFI and you can download the Mac Recovery file, then you can basically install macOS on anything. So here we go. There we have macOS Tahoe, and we will go macrecovery.py, and we'll have all of those different, I guess, extensions to the command. And we can go ahead and run that in the correct folder. And what this should do is generate the Mac Recovery, I guess, folder, which allows you to run the Mac Recovery on a normal Windows PC. This is actually where, other than the EFI, this is also where the magic happens. Here you go, it seemed to be doing stuff. It did take about half an hour to 45 minutes for all of this to download. So this is heavily sped up. Yeah. So you need to have some patience for this. Also installing, especially on a hard drive, takes about 5 hours. But I did run it on a hard drive, or install it on a hard drive, and spinning media bad. It was just super slow, so I did eventually install it on an NVMe drive. So now we have the stuff generated. We can go ahead and copy this. I'm just going to copy it to here, just the I'm going to call it a macOS folder, and we'll copy the EFI into here, and as well as the recovery stuff. So I copy the recovery, and now we will go into OpenCore Simplify, and then results EFI, and we'll copy that into the macOS. If I can find it, where is it? There we go. There we go, we can copy it in there, and this is basically all we need. So now what you'll need to do is you need to find a USB drive. I think it needs to be at least 8 gigabytes, but you'll need to format the drive in GPT format. And then I'm going to go ahead and click format. And then once it's done, we need to add a partition. There we go. And we need to put it in FAT, and I'm just going to call it installer. There we go, we can add the partition. This does take a while on some machines and slow USB drives. And then we need to go ahead and copy the stuff in our macOS folder to this installer USB drive. Yes! And then we can wait for this to download. And then we can go, not download, copy. And then once that's all done copying, it did take me a few tries. There were some issues copying, especially the EFI over. The recovery folder is just 2 files. So then it was done, and I booted up into macOS, and here's some really low quality images of macOS. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.